Welcome everyone to the 23rd ever offline TV podcast. Today, we're gonna start things off with a little bit more serious of a topic, which is the whole movement happening in the Americas right now. The upheaval, the reaction to the killing of George Floyd by the Minneapolis police. It's a bit of a sensitive one, but at the same time, it's such a big thing going on. I think we should touch about it a little bit. If stuff like this makes you uncomfortable, you can skip this podcast or, skip to a part where we stop talking. I don't know how long we're going to talk about it for, but...
I thought we were going to jump into this topic like around the middle or like the end.
Same.
We're
jumping
right
we started
in.
off with like, I want to talk about a serious topic. I thought he was going to say some meme shit like Yvonne blowing up a Minecraft house.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should do it in the middle or at the end. But it's something we talked about it internally, whether or not it's like we should maybe just, let's just talk about Minecraft. But at the same time, it feels like we should touch about it just as, people and as content creators. So yeah. How do you guys feel like right now on Twitter and like social media, you see a lot of people hashtagging Black Lives Matter because it's a movement. It's it's the hashtag people go to. But every time, like if we tweet about it or like we say, we donate something, there's always going to be a reply that says hashtag all lives matter.
I like there's so many analogies now, right? So many. Like if someone says, well, happy Father's Day, you don't say like happy All Parents Day or like
what about Mother's Day?
Yeah. I think most people understand, it doesn't mean all lives don't matter. It's just we're focusing on Black Lives Matter. It just seems kind of tone deaf,
Yeah.
It's almost like in order for all lives to matter, Black lives must also matter.
Yeah.
And I think like saying that just dilutes the message, right?
Yep.
You're
you're just missing the point, really.
Yeah, there's been a lot of analogies. Like Lily said, I've heard so much. It's like we should save the pandas. It's like, wow, so you don't care about tigers and elephants? Like when Jesus said, "Blessed be the poor." It's like, oh, so not bless everyone, huh? I think there is like some people who just don't understand why like saying all lives matter is insensitive at best. Because the very basic idea is that yes, all lives matter, but when you say it in response to people saying Black Lives Matter, it's like you're trying to take away from the significance of that, right?
I feel like there was an interesting message or something I read online where it's like people wonder, would it have been different if the initial message was like Black Lives Matter too?
An extra letter with trends or hashtags, it's just gonna get cut off.
Yeah, I feel like the shorter the message on social media, the better. Like the shorter the hashtag, like it feels more, I guess, impactful. I don't know. When thinking about this movement, I just think like there's a lot of like things that are just like should be relative no brainer. Like racism bad. All like Black Lives Matter. Like that's where everyone's like aligned, Like it's like, okay, we shouldn't fucking like kill people like by stepping on them and choking them. Yeah, okay, that's all aligned, right? And then the other stuff, a lot of this I think has just been an explosion of quarantine. Like if quarantine wasn't here, people weren't pent up and like really fucking like frustrated, I feel like it wouldn't nearly have been as big of a movement, personally speaking, because it went ballistic, And even in like, for me, when I look at this movement, I'm just it's like this is a historical movement for us. Like 2020 is going to be a year where you look back on, and there's some years in the history books that are like one page. Like this is going to be like a 20-page section in the history books. Like you have to remember 2020. It happened. We're only 6 months in.
It's a memorable year.
That's true. But like not for great reasons, honestly. Like when I think of the BLM, it's always like from perspective of I stream video games. I got famous because I'm a video game streamer. I was a professional player. I spent all my years playing video games. I got good at it. and then people come to me to watch me stream video games. When people also come to me and they're like, "What's your position on this? What's your position on that?" Anytime any politics comes up to my chat, I always say like, I don't really talk much about it. Not because I don't feel comfortable pushing my own agenda, which I don't. It's more like I'm not well educated enough because hey, I only play video games. I think of League of Legends, TFT 24/7. You're asking me to like, what's your opinion on like the justice system? What do you think about the healthcare system? What do you think about this movement? And so I remember a lot of the initial stuff was just like, why didn't you react faster, dude? What happened? It's like, well, shit, like I don't want to be a person who reacts immediately and regrets it because they didn't do enough research. A good example.
Sorry, that's called reactive activism. I looked it up.
Yeah, a good example is just recently. The funniest thing is like everyone tried to do so much for Black Lives Matter. Like everyone like did donations, signed a bunch of stuff, did pro. And there was this one Instagram movement on social media that you just blacked out your social media. So was it a Blackout Tuesday?
Yeah.
And they hashtagged Black Lives Matter and just it ended up being terrible because it took away all the information of the movement and what people needed to like look at, what research. So it was just like a really like a quick reaction to the problem that caused worse things. And I was thinking about doing it too. I remember Pokey first brought it to my attention, and I was like, "Oh shit! Thank God I didn't do that," because it ended up being quite a disaster. Honestly, it was.
It
better.
ended up being counterproductive.
Yeah, it was better for me to just like not tweet because I agreed with the original idea. Like, don't drown out the important message during this movement. So I was like, okay, I just won't tweet. Then do what anyone else did, or like post something on Instagram, because I felt like that was more impactful by not doing anything.
Yeah. You kind of touched on it where you said, at the end of the day, we're just streamers and like we're video gamers. I'm sure when at the beginning of this podcast, people tuning in, they're like, "Why would we listen to you? You guys are, just video gamers. Stay in your lane."
Let's talk about that annoys me so much when video gamers or introverts or whoever, right, who don't usually, I don't know why I said introverts because I think most gamers are introverts, like don't do this kind of stuff. But then when they say something about anything about politics or anything about Black Lives Matter or whatever, they get told to stay in your lane, don't talk about it, you have no like credentials, etc. Like actively discouraged from talking about it. And I'm just that's also counterproductive.
It's hard to do anything right in this situation.
I also think most of the time when viewers ask for your perspective, they want to hear their perspective coming out of the mouths of their favorite influencers. Because if you don't agree with what they already think that they want you to say, you're gonna get insulted or like arguing, stuff like that, right?
It's not what's your perspective, it's what's my perspective coming out of your mouth.
Oh, I get this every day in a different way. People come to my stream and they ask me, "Scara, are you sick and tired of TFT? It's such a bad game." And that's such a loaded question because I know, I even respond, I'm like, anytime I get asked this question, it's only the person who asked that hates the game. And like, they're just waiting for me to agree with them. Like, I was right. It's like, no, bitch, you're wrong.
Most people, just want to hear their own opinions parroted back at them by the influencer. And it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I wish it was just like a situation where people were really happy when people did things that aligned with them instead of trying to poke for more or trying to pressure people that haven't spoken out into speaking out. Or at least like if you are very curious about someone's stance, to ask nicely. I remember when it really became a trend online, I was kind of trying to take a step away from like Twitter and social media and stuff. And so coming back to it and kind of reading through everything, I saw so many people, and I don't know if this is out of quarantine boredom, but so many people were trying so hard to look for who hasn't said anything yet, instead of focusing on the good that had been done. And I totally understand the premise of, I think people are saying like being anti-racism, so being very outspoken about that sort of thing. And I agree with that concept. But I also think people were kind of taking it a bit far by like trying to cancel people that hadn't said anything like 48 hours into the movement. I
Yeah.
feel like, yeah.
I made a statement about that briefly because I don't like releasing public statements when I'm not educated or I don't do my research, etc. I've had it happen where I did reactively do something and it ended up not being right.
Mhm.
So like I'm always like super careful because anything we say will be broadcasted to thousands of people, right?
Mhm.
And then some of the comments I got were like, "Oh, it doesn't take that long to say racism is bad." Like it boils down to just like a black and
But
white.
imagine you just tweeted racism is bad. You know what I
wouldn't
mean?
do that, but like,
Mhm.
yeah, if I tweeted just like, "Oh," I felt like it would. For me, it feels cheap to just like reactively go like, "Oh yeah, I better tweet about BLM right now," right? I want to make sure like, yeah, I want to genuinely care about this. I want to educate myself. I want to make sure the message I'm broadcasting is like right because we have a lot of influence over a lot of people out there, and yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on influencers to say something or also not to say anything. Because on one end, you have people saying, like, if you're staying silent right now,
Silence is
you're
compliance.
like a
Or
big part of
something.
the problem. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Ah,
And on the other end, you have, like, I saw a streamer tweets like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about BLM because I'm not a cloud chaser interested in internet points. Which essentially says, like, if you ever talk about BLM stuff, that means
You're a
you
cloud
don't,
chaser.
you're a cloud chaser. So
I
it's
feel
like,
like streaming has to stop on both sides. Like
yeah,
we're all trying to help in our own way. Like
Yeah.
why everyone's going in? We should be all going in the same direction. Like I don't understand the people actively going against it.
it's because people want more. Like, I find that a lot of times when I'm, whatever happens in situations like these, like a lot of people think it's like the social responsibility of an influencer or a streamer to be an activist. And personally, my take is that's never been the case. Like, I don't think there is or should be something. That doesn't mean, however, it doesn't mean that, like, as a streamer I can't support a good cause or a cause that I find to be good. So for me, I tell people, you come to my stream, I'm like, I don't think there's a social responsibility for me to support or like to be an activist for this movement, support this movement. However, me as a person, I want to do it because I think what happened is fucked up, and I'd like to support them. And of course, part of the ways I did it was talk about it on stream, tweet about it, donate multiple times. And like you said, Lily, when I donated, oh god, I fucking knew it would happen. I donated to small businesses because I was like, how do I want to who do I want to donate to? Okay, I'm gonna donate to small businesses in the LA area. One in the LA area, one not.
I want to give some context to Scara's thing, because that morning we were getting breakfast and Scara came in and he's like, Toast, I want to do something. I want to donate to small businesses because, I feel like he feels like small businesses who got, their stuff messed up, their store looted, some of them don't have insurance, and it's like they are unfortunately just a casualty in all of this, right? And Scar wanted to help them. And it seems so simple, right? Just donate money and that would be the end of it. But we start having this conversation and I just asked him, okay, is the store owners black? Which is like a question you shouldn't have to ask. But I'm not asking it because, you should donate to black people only or not non-black people only. But I knew because like if he donated, that's what people will flame him for. Like, are they black though? So
because of that conversation, I had to change my or I impacted how I donated. Yeah. I was gonna donate to one business. I decided to donate to two. I donated to one in LA, one toward it was another location. It's like Minneapolis or another location. I made sure that one of them was a black-owned business and one was not. That way, I covered both sides. And like I felt like the reason that I had to do this was so stupid because I was like, I just want to donate. But I was like, you know what? I'll put in the extra effort so that like people will see like I care about like what I'm donating about. Like I'm putting in the research and like it matters. And the responses were still like, oh, so you only care about black businesses. And I'm just like, bitch, look at what I donated
to. A meme or not?
No, it's not a meme.
That's the thing.
It's not a meme.
I mean, is it not a little bit odd for people to even question that? Like, in the sense that had you wanted to specifically support black-owned businesses, is that really that bad of a thing anyways?
No, but I just
No, it's
to me, I was like, I don't want to have the drama attached to it. And I was like,
Yeah.
look, it's still supporting a good cause. I'll do it this way just to be sure. And both Lily and Toast have my back on that tweet.
Honestly, what I'm getting from this is people will complain about anything. It's gonna happen. It is what it is. We are content creators. No matter what we do, right?
Yeah.
So I think the best thing to do is still help because we want to, regardless of people complaining, because that's always gonna happen, right? It's never gonna change. There's no point trying to change it, I think.
From a pragmatic point of view, the best thing to do, like if you don't want to mess anything up, is to literally stay silent. And that's just the reality of the internet, where it's like, because like if you say something, you're gonna piss someone off, and like if you don't do it correctly, you're gonna piss more people off. And I will say, there are some people who are taking advantage of it, and I've seen 2 like clips on Reddit of Instagram model influencers with like 20K followers each, just, you know, hot skinny influencer girl trying to make it big as a model, and like people are filming them. There was one who just drove up to the sidewalk, and like in front there was a shop that got, you know, vandalized, and it's all boarded up, it's all clean now. So she comes out of the car with a power tools,
Oh my god.
stand next
saw
to it,
that.
smile
Oh
for
my
the
God.
camera, like she's
Mhm.
patching up the store,
I
checks the
didn't see
picture, gets
And then
back in the
go.
car, and then just drove off.
The other
Dude,
one,
the funniest thing about that clip, at the end, as she's driving off, she like handed the tool back to the worker. She drives off and she goes, "Good job, guys. Keep it up. Black Lives Matter." Bye."
Oh my god.
It's
Oh,
so cringy. As if like
sorry.
pretending and then exclaiming, "Black Lives Matter" is doing anything.
There was also the streamer who was streaming and he was like, "Hey, flip that truck over."
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
people who were like peacefully protesting, by the way, were like, "Did you flip that truck over?" And he's like, No, I'm sorry." And then they start like ganging up on him because he was trying to instigate something.
Yeah, they're like, "This guy told me to flip the truck and he has a
Oh my
camera."
And he started like booking it, and I'm like, okay,
Jesus.
That's
Gee.
hilarious.
And there was another one where the girl has a sign, and there was a protest. It was just a peaceful marching protest. She just like joined the crowd, put the sign up, took the picture, and then just left instantly. And in both these cases, people found out their Instagram handle and just
Oh, yeah.
flamed the shit out of them. And like, it does really give a bad name to like everything, because like when people see that, they're like, "Oh, and all influencers like that." And like the word influencer has such a negative connotation to it. I hate it when people call me an influencer now. Like,
I don't like the connotation behind it because sometimes it colors how they view you, like before you even do anything. Like
Mhm.
you
It
know,
sounds like a very disingenuous term.
yeah, it's like I'm
it's a- it's-
influencing.
Like
people.
inherently disingenuous.
It's the term companies came up for to like describe what we do. You
Mhm.
know, like
Because
okay,
it's true, sometimes people aren't content creators. They don't make content. They really do
They're
just
just
like have a
influencers.
reach.
Mhm.
And the way to word that, I guess, is saying they have influence.
it's wild that I prefer like streamer or a guy who makes videos than like
honestly, I say like
yeah,
I just say streamer. You know, like it's easy to explain, or YouTuber even. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
YouTubers okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
speaking of YouTuber, have you seen Logan Paul's video?
was it Logan or Jake? It was Logan, right? Who I think it was Logan who he went to the mall that was being
No,
like
that was Jake.
that was Jake?
That was Jake. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Logan actually spoke out about Black Lives Matter in a very
And a very good
proper manner. Yeah,
I
he
actually
did really good.
video. I'm like,
I was
I
impressed.
like clapped and stuff. I'm like, whoa, that's really good. Like he acknowledges his like privilege and he speaks out against it, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, wow, I'm
Impressed.
impressed.
Yeah, so it was
So
Jake
they
Paul.
swapped spots.
Yeah, he Instagram stored himself at a mall that was being
Jake,
looted.
right?
Yeah, Jake looted, and one of his friends or something like took a bottle of vodka from PF Chang's and like handed it to him, and it's just I don't know, it's just kind of left a bad taste in people's mouth, because obviously the Logan brothers are very controversial for what they do, but Apparently, Jake also got in trouble because, like, since he was filmed on the mall, he was technically trespassing. So there's some legal issue there, but yeah.
I believe he was charged. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And also, sorry, I don't mean to be a little gossip, Andy, but I think it goes to push our whole influencer angle. Jake also did this thing where, after all of that happened, he came out with a video talking about it, and he attached a fundraiser to the video. However, this fundraiser was actually created by another YouTuber who had raised $32,000. So Jake attached this person's fundraiser, and 20 minutes after posting the video, someone tweeted him and they're like, "Oh my god, like you raised $32,000 in 20 minutes." And he quote retweeted it and he was like, "With everyone's help," when all of that money was raised by someone else and he had just attached the name to his video.
Jesus.
So I think what I'm trying to say is it's so clear. I mean, to me, it feels like very much a PR move. People telling him, attach this to this. He has no actual idea, one, it wasn't his fundraiser, how much he is actively raising or his community is raising. And it, again, feels like reactive activism. I think that's what Lily called it. Or at least like slightly disingenuous. And I think it's good to want to align yourself with something that you perhaps believe in. But if you're going to broadcast that publicly, do try to be informed. Otherwise, you might end up looking like a dumbass.
Influencers, you know, we have influence. We could use it for good.
Yeah.
When
When
I first heard about like Black Lives Matter and like the word privilege got brought up a lot. They're just like, oh, you wouldn't know this type of privilege because, or like you're privileged because you wouldn't grow up black. You didn't understand racism from the ground up, culturally, any way, shape, or form. And like, I agree with that statement, right? And on top of that, I feel very privileged to be in the position that I'm at. And I feel like maybe a lot of you guys agree, right?
Privileged.
Like,
we're super
we're like,
absolutely.
we're in such a good position, especially during like probably one of the biggest, crises ever in terms of a global pandemic. It's like, hey, we're chilling and like we can still do what we do. And for me, my viewership went up. So like it's a positive thing for me. It's like, boy, do I fucking understand that I'm in a good ass position, Yeah, I think like it's just such an interesting word to hear a lot, and like to have people say that like, hey, like you're a privileged position, you're not, and like I think about that all the time. I think like I am blessed to be where I am at right now. Even before the Black Lives Matter movement, I always think like, this is probably one of the best moments of my life, entire life. And I'm like, I want to take advantage of it and make sure that like I'm doing the best that I can. Whether that is in my professional life or in like my personal interests, or even in like maybe what is this political interests. I guess like whatever movement I want to show support of, I want to say like, yeah, I'm doing something that I want to be doing, and I feel good about it.
Yeah. Like we are just at the end of the day content creators who play games for a living. Don't look to us to educate you on the effects of systematic racism, because you shouldn't be getting that from us. Like we're talking about like it seems kind of superficial to talk about. It's like, wow, Jake Paul did this, or like influencer this, or model that kind of deal. But at the end of the day, like that's what we know. It's not the core issue, but it's the one we can talk about, and we can like point you guys to like, hey, there are a lot of messed up things going on. Like, there's a list of names of like victims of like systematic racism and like police brutality. Like, there was one I had to Google. It's like, because I heard the names Eric Garner before and George Floyd. I had to Google Breonna Taylor, which was like, and when I read that, I'm like, wait, this is really messed up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's like how it affected me.
Bunch of names.
Yeah.
Did you guys know Eric Gardner? His dying words were also "I can't breathe."
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow.
So it's like history repeats itself.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys, like, what made you guys want to tweet something or say something or like talk about? Because when stuff like this happen, we always don't know, like, should we or when. And it's usually something that convinces us. It's like,
I
you
feel
know
like
what, this is where I need to say something.
it's just it feels like we're going through a historical moment that
Yep.
Mm.
we have to get involved. Like this affects all of us. And I don't know. I felt I cared. Like I wanted to help reading up and researching and everything. So that's why I tweeted. I don't know. I don't know if my one fucking tweet's gonna like help out, right? Like that's how I feel.
It
Like
can.
I don't know, but I just did it anyway.
Yeah. For me, there was 3 things. One was you guys, because out of the 4 of us, I tweeted last. And seeing you guys do it, it's like, you know, my friends are doing it, and, you know, I know them, I trust them. I want to do right by them. And also my assistant, Cherry, that I hire, you know, she messaged me saying, hey, Toast, you know, I think it would be great if you could say something. No pressure, though. Just know that whatever you do, I'll support you. And it's like, it just reminded me that people respect me and I have their respect, and I don't want to let them down. The other one was like, looking at Ninja's Twitter. Because I'm like,
Yeah, I was impressed.
Ninja wouldn't say anything. He's a Fortnite kitty panderer. He'll take the PR move. So I'm like, all right, what did Ninja say? I bet he didn't say anything. And he was going
Left and
hard
right,
on it.
yeah.
It's like,
I
this
guess
is injustice.
It's like an example of like how influencers can influence people with their tweets or messages to encourage other
Oh.
people. Hey, this is serious. Start caring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
you
it
know what
works.
didn't help? People who said, Toes, you're a piece of shit for not using your platform. Why are you staying silent, you coward?
Dude.
It's like,
Oh,
okay, that's not helping the situation. But like seeing other people like take a stand and say, like, lead the way, like lead by example, like that made me wanna, like, you know what?
So-
you did right.
And then
The
when-
morning. Oh,
Sorry.
You want to go?
I don't know.
Okay. I feel like we are a lot. Okay. The morning that this was starting to get popular, I think it was a Friday, Saturday. I remember walking upstairs and Poki was coming downstairs, and I told her I don't want to tweet about this. I literally told her to her face, I don't want to do it. And the reason is because I woke up that morning and someone in my DMs messaged me saying that like it's my responsibility to tweet something about this, and they think less of me as a person that I did not. And I was so fucking mad that that's what I woke up to. I was so pissed. I was just ranting with Poki. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And after that position, I cooled down a little bit. After my stream, I looked to see what my friends were doing. That, and then the next day, I had a tweet from Marquez Brownlee. He is a humongous black tech reviewer.
He's so cool.
He is huge. Like
He
is just,
tweeted you?
No. He made a tweet.
He saw
I
his
wish.
tweet.
Say
I wish.
hello?
He made a tweet which was like just his text about the matter, and
a tweet.
it was
Such a
it
good
pretty much like made me not only understand the issue from a creator standpoint, but also align very well with what I believe in as a person. After reading his tweet, I was like, I'm down. I can support this. You know, even if like everything that I do only moves like, you know, it's he says moving the needle, you know, he moves the needle a little bit. I'm just like, you know what, that little bit may matter, you know, and because of him and because of like you guys, I was like, I'll do it. And that's what caused me to tweet the day after. But without him and without like kind of researching it and then kind of seeing what you guys did, like it was an influencer that influenced me to pay more attention and do my own research and do what I did.
That's actually pretty cool. Like, yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the things, well, recently I watched 13th and I highly recommend that movie. It's so good. I think a lot of the things that I've read, the articles I've read, the things that I've seen, whether it's videos or films, are so interesting, and just having an opportunity to become more educated on this topic just really motivates you to want to do something about it, especially when you're in a position where you do have some ability to influence others and spark more change. And I think the other thing was, I feel like there's still like there's still some racism within the gaming community, and I felt like this would be such a good opportunity for me to very clearly state that this is something that I am against. Because I'm sure that there are people that follow me and have either racist tendencies or thoughts or are on that spectrum of things. And I just wanted to make it clear that I don't want to affiliate with that sort of thing or encourage it by not saying anything. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes it might come off weird to just say it randomly. Or people will be all SJW on you. But if there is an opportunity to really state my opinion like this, then I would want to take it.
If anyone's like kind of going against you for saying, like, basically saying, you know, we don't condone racism, do you really want them as
Exactly. I feel like it's like filtering my fan base in a way that I would like to.
Yeah. There is a lot of like racism in gaming, and I think a lot of it isn't like just pure racism, as in like, oh, they hate black people, but more like it's the edgy thing to do. The biggest example recently, there was a Dr. K, who's a streamer on Twitch, who's a psychiatrist. He was interviewing 5 black streamers, and one of the things they said that always made them feel more excluded was the usage of the tryhard mode, which is a black person. And like,
I feel like that should
they said like it's fun when they're enjoying a streamer, and then they're like, haha, they see something black, it's like try hard in the chat, boys. And like it always made them, like this black person said, it always made them feel like singled out. And it is something that happens a lot within certain streamers. And like, I know I've kind of like leaned into it every now and then. It's called race baiting, I think they call it, where it's like you just bait people to point out the someone of color. Like, and it happens on every stream, like on LCS stream, like when Afromoo shows up, you know, he's a black player. You see some people just start spamming like try hard, and like some streamers encourage it, saying try hard in the chat, and it's just kind of the way the scene is. And luckily now, like, people are more aware, and like me as a person, I think there's always room for, like, I like racial humor, and I also been more aware of like where, like, what is funny and what is just like lowbrow. Like when we unpacked we got sent Yoshis, right, from Mario, and there was green Yoshi and there was white Yoshi, which I've never seen. It's like, wow, white Yoshi, that's so cool. And there was a black Yoshi. It's like, wow, this black Yoshi is equally cool as this white Yoshi. Which for me, like, even looking back on it now, I feel like that's just, I think that is funny, and not like, like, maybe this offends people, but it's more of a commentary about like equality with black and white. It's like, but I'm attributing to a fictional dinosaur. But I would avoid stuff like,
it's a good like sarcastic
satire.
You're almost making fun of racism, and at least that's the way that I take that joke.
But compared to, like, let's say there was just black Yoshi, and I'd be like, yo, black Yoshi, what up, dog? Like, that's just, for me, feels a little more.
7 in the chat.
Yeah,
you know, that's actually
stereotypical.
something, especially because I started streaming when I was 17, and I am not the most eloquent person, especially when it comes to political topics. And I remember getting like really annoyed when my chat would just like randomly spam tryhard7, whether it was because there was a person of color on the stream or just because they thought it was like a funny emote to spam. I just felt like it was such a like racially loaded thing to do that it really bothered me. But then when people would be like, oh, why are you bothered? Do you have like a problem with this emote? You know, and I just had such a hard time explaining myself that it was difficult to really like express why the fact that they were doing it bothered me. But
funny enough. Oh, sorry, I could finish your statement.
I was gonna say, like, I'm glad that sort of behavior is further being brought to light, So even if you're just like trying to be a part of the group or trying to be funny, you can understand how there are better ways to do that.
And
Yeah.
I feel like, again, there's always room for improvement. You can reflect and realize, like, oh, what I did was, not right.
Mm-hmm.
Immature.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have bad intentions, but there can be a bad byproduct of what's
always like trying to improve yourself. I will.
One of the things that like I really like about that is like people, you always want to try to push people toward improving themselves. It's like being able to like really fucking mad that someone didn't support the thing that you did. It's like understandable, but like in the end, it doesn't result into the thing that you want, because you want humans to kind of improve and learn over time. Like that's the goal. Like everyone should want to be a better person. And if you're gonna like kind of like lash out and just like hate this guy, and you're not gonna get the result that you want, which is like maybe they changed their mind. You know? And like for me, I was so against the issue of like immediately, because I woke up and I saw this, I was really fucking mad without doing any research.
That guy pressuring me.
Yeah, exactly. And like it really had to like rethink about like that and be like, okay, I should really take a look at this for me to get to that point. But like, yeah, we should want to, try to encourage people. If they don't see the side that you want, try to encourage them to in ways that do promote that. In ways that aren't just like, you're a fucking dick, I lose respect for you, fuck you.
I think that's a great point. Lashing out against people, especially in a moment where they haven't done anything, typically doesn't result in them becoming a better person or having any motivation to try to see your side of things or learn about where you're coming from.
If anything, if they do change, if they do something, it would be out of like it would be
disingenuous.
More, I think. Like it would be kind of like, I don't want to say fake, but if you're just doing something, I don't want to make that person mad, so I'm gonna do it, right? Is it that genuine at that point? I don't think so.
Like if this movement is about like kind of cultural change and like personal change within people, and like if that's what you're trying to preach, like you're going against that by trying to like hard force your ideas onto people, enforcing them
to be informed, not pretend to be informed.
Yeah, because like I feel like that makes it so that people change a lot more over time than just forcing them to do it. You're gonna get some short-term benefit for sure.
You want people to it's like long-term. You want them to like care, and like you want them to continue to care, not just stop when this, the tweets have died down, the hashtag is faded into obscurity. You want people to care long-term, and that's the goal.
Yeah. Do you guys have any black friends?
Oh yikes! What?
Do you guys have any black friends?
I mean, we all know Myth. Hello.
Yeah. Like like very close to, I talk to on a daily basis, black friends, or I have friends who are black.
I have friends.
I have friends who are black.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I don't have a lot of black friends, unfortunately. Unfortunately, not that there's a luckiness aspect of it, but more just like haven't had a chance to interact with a lot of them. But like, it definitely, like when you hear like people do something racist and they always say something like, "Oh, it's okay, I got a black friend. My best friend is black." Like it feels like it gives them a reason to be racist. But for me, it's like one of my mods is black, and like ever since I modded her and like she's more prevalent in the community, I definitely like give more thought to my like racial humor at times, because like it's like shit, this is gonna come off as insensitive. So it does kind of ground me a little bit to see like how my words and action might alienate people. Like I still make my jokes, but it definitely helps give me like, hey, what I say and what I do is affecting someone I know personally. Another thing was when deciding whether or not to tweet, we have a streamer in our social circle who's black called Sydney, right? And she shared a text message from her mother saying like, if the cops ever pull you over, don't argue with them, put your hands down, like be the most compliant person in the world, and she ends with "I love you," and it reminded me of what my mom says to me when it's like, when Corona was starting, it's like, hey, don't go out, clean your hands, wear gloves, wear a mask, I love you. But like, she's like, my mom's talking about a global pandemic, a disease that will kill you. And like her mom was talking about like the police. But they're talking about it in the same way. And it's like, it's crazy that, it gave me such context. It's like, is this how Black people like
Live
feared?
their lives.
Yeah. And it's like, wow, it's really eye-opening.
Also, I also try to reach out to more people. So like there's a viewer of mine who's Black, right? And he messaged me privately saying like, hey, it really means so much that you actually, I'm gonna cry.
Aw.
Fuck! That you actually care about this.
Mhm.
I'll talk about it later. I'm gonna drink water.
It means so much more, and it impacts you so much more once you put so many faces to the movement and the issues. And I also think that's why I love so many films that touch on this topic, because when you see the faces of these people, and sometimes kids who have to go through, whether it's police brutality or any other form of racism, it just makes you want to do something about it.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can't really forget, and it just makes you a more conscious human being, or a more considerate human being.
Man, the kind of videos coming out of these protests and like some of the police brutality
God.
videos, it's like,
So grateful for technology. I feel like, or at least I hope, that it will allow us to like go through these like civil rights movements, hopefully at a more rapid rate, because instead of it just being, oh, I knew someone whom this happened to, like you can see it happen firsthand, and that moves people enough to make them want to do something about it.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting when you see
How
some
many
of the
videos
stuff.
are there out there?
It's so many.
I haven't even watched all of them. I was like trying to go through them. I'm like, oh, this is the 200th one. Okay.
And to anyone that may be afraid to watch, because I'm kind of like that, like I don't like to watch anything like gore or pain related on video. I just can't really. I actually recommend that you do, because once I did, it made a very lasting impression on me. And I think it helps you better understand as well.
Whether you watch it or not, it is happening. It's frequently happening, and that's a problem. So might as well just stay informed. I mean, obviously you don't have to watch it, but it's there.
Yeah, there's a lot of information out there, way more than you would expect if you want to be like informed.
Yeah, and if you feel like your mind is made up, well then it doesn't hurt. Or if you feel like you're in the right wherever you are in terms of your opinion, it doesn't hurt to become more informed.
Yeah, some of the videos, man, it's like, it's almost ironic. It's like people are protesting against police brutality, so the police respond by being even more brutal.
It's crazy. I remember, what was it, the homeless guy that got forced into the pavement? That one was.
Hasn't Trump been tweeting about that guy?
He tweeted about another guy. There was one who got pushed over by the police, and he fell backwards, hit his head, and then blood starts coming out his ear. And the police are just stepping over him, like 30 cops. And then the people who checked on him was like the army, like people in like army gear, and like just checking on, is he okay? And it's, like, I wonder, like, do those army guys like, holy shit, what's wrong with these cops, man? Because it's like, yeah, he might be faking it sometimes, but it's like, you can't fake blood coming out of your head. At that point, it's like, okay, look, he's clearly like severely injured. I don't care like what's happening. You have to stop and check on him. But they were just stepping over him. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But
I'd just like to add one more thing, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Obama wrote a really, really great blog post, and I would just like to reiterate some of the points from it, which is that if you really care about this sort of thing, especially if you live in the US, especially if you are of age to vote, please remember not only to vote in the presidential campaign or races, but also on a local and state level. That's how you can have the most real life impact on who runs your police departments, how much they are funded, how they are structured. Please, please, please look into wherever you are, whatever state or city you live in, look into who you want to support, and please do go out and try to, because young voters have the smallest percentage of turnout. And as great as it is to see all this online activism and spreading awareness, let's also put our money where our mouth is and go out there and exercise our right to vote.
Yeah, every time we talk about politics in the house, Pokey would be like, "But did you vote though?" And
I
like,
ask everybody all the time because I have like secondhand like unable to voteness. I'm Canadian and I only have a visa, so I don't think I can vote. We're not really allowed to unless we get residency, or we become a citizen. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I always ask everyone else, "You guys can vote. So did you use my vote? Can you go use
Oh
use
my.
your vote for me?"
Dude, I'm just saying, with Trump how he is right now, I'm down to move to Canada. I'm just get me
I'm
the
down
fuck
to.
out.
Yo, if he gets reelected, can we go to Canada?
I'm not even.
Come on.
I'd be down to spend some months, outside the country.
All right, I'll take what I can get.
yeah, so
Yeah.
anyway, we said we're gonna touch on it, but
We
it's
just-
47 minutes in.
Podcast.
Daisy.
Yeah, I think this whole event will it's gonna be. It should leave a lasting impression on people. Like, it might not be like a huge change. People aren't gonna change overnight, or but it definitely will have like small impacts in how we interact with people, how we enable people, and like how we should be more like, if we see something or we find ourselves doing something where it might alienate people or make them feel more exclusionary, we should definitely hopefully we can remember
Okay.
these lessons and
Yeah.
hey, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, haha, but come on, man, kind of deal.
Oh no, I mean we
People get mad
can.
when our podcasts are under an hour.
Do they?
I have no idea.
I mean,
how to do
I
that.
don't think we should care about that. Like, if we're comfortable ending where we are, we should just do it. Like, for me, it's like, I think we talked about a lot of topics that we wanted to cover, and I don't know. Like, I've been kind of thinking about how to talk about this subject matter more. I'm
Mhm.
happy I was able to bring it up here, because just randomly going on a tangent on my stream, be like, "All right, guys, I'm switching to just chatting. Fuck you guys. I don't want to play TFT. Let's talk about black people." It's like a little bit different than me being able to
I do
talk
feel
with you guys,
Mhm.
and kind of talk over the same subject matter, and you guys understand. You're all in
I
the
also
same
like
similar
that this is
position.
a bit immortalized because it'll be a video posted, and I feel
Mhm.
like it'll reach even more people than I usually would on one stream, which I
Yeah.
really enjoy.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
again,
that's true.
guys, we're just content creators. If you want real opinions of people who are deeply integrated, there are better things to
And
look
are
for,
more knowledgeable.
more knowledgeable.
We'll some links down below.
Yeah.
that-
All we could do is point to you guys to where the info
My
is.
favorite site is blacklivesmatters.card.co. I'm gonna put the description of
.co.
excellent for all the petitions you can do, people you can call or text, donate, resources.
If you like watching content, us stream videos, I highly recommend some good documentaries or movies. I think one is called The Hate You Give. Yeah, there's a lot of really enjoyable movies, so you have a good time and also educate yourself at the same time.
Yeah. So I think that'll do it for us today. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all to the people here. It's a touchy subject, but we did it. And
I just look at our
Stay safe,
subject.
happy, and healthy. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just trying
I
to
look
think.
at our topic list. There's 10 topics, and it's like
Smiley.
we just got one. And you know what? That's okay.
Even now, I'm
Most
thinking about
important one.
the title. It's like, good luck to whoever has to title this.
It's just easy, honestly. There's only 3
Yeah,
words.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe out there, and see you guys next week.
Bye bye.